Teresita Blanco, the Younger Sister, and we're reading Saturnastra Woden. This is chapter 4, The Departure. Noticing that Woden was gone, I decided to find her, and she was in the kitchen opening the storage room with a knife and a pick. And once it opened, she found a fresh piece of bread and several boxes filled with tea leaves. And she mixed the mass until she concocted something to her liking. And she then boiled the leaves and heated the bread too in the oven, and when they felt just right, we had our tea. And it felt like ages since we drank any tea. Then again, it has only been a couple of days. And with the warmth of the tea and the cold in my chest dissipated, and the icicles on my headwinds melted into floating water droplets, and my mouth even obtained a healthy rouge coloration. And after Woden sipped her tea, she gave a deep sigh of contentment, and she stirred a bit to allow the fumes to enter her nostril. And then she said to me, "You know what this thing is missing? A pint of nightshade." I then said to her, "I saw a good bug growing in that old hag's house, and what was her name? Agnes, yes, in her garden. We should rummage it one of these days." "I suppose, but it is a bit of a waste, and we should see if we find some of the local flowers in the market," said Woden. "Good idea," I said, even though it seemed to me like a bit of a hassle, and I could just get it in a jiffy. Then again, I doubt that the fire fiend would make extraction easily. And I'm not alien to that type of dance, and if that Esther wants to battle, I feel confident enough that I'll be able to take her." And before I finished drinking my tea, Lady Josepha entered the kitchen, and she saw the storage room open, and she locked it again inside. She thought I had to get that lock replaced, and turning around, she grasped when she saw Woden, and putting her hand to her chest, she said, "Good gracious, and what are you doing here, girl?" "What does it look like I'm doing?" said Woden. "Oh, drinking tea alone. Pour me a cup," she said, sitting down. And Woden took my cup, and she poured new tea inside of it, and she handed it to Lady Josepha, who sniffed it and coughed. She found it bitter, but she swallowed it down nonetheless, and she shifted uncomfortably in her corsage, and then she said, "They shouldn't say you used magic to cure Daddy. Children also say that the house is haunted too," responded Woden. And Lady Josepha passed her pinky over the edge of the teacup, and she was quiet for quite some time, and her reverie was interrupted when the main bell rang. And jumping up, she said, "Oh yes, I forgot we have visitors. Get changed into something decent and put on your best face. Do not embarrass me." "As you wish," said Woden, not getting up. And Lady Josepha left the kitchen to busy herself with the maids, and she summoned them, and they all put it on their best faces. And she gave a tour of her facility to the visiting nobles, and while she explained how she ran her orphanage. And I wasn't too interested in hearing her little tirades, and all the orphanage are managed pretty much the same way. And they presented themselves as an organization that helped children when all they did was keep street urchins and pickpocketers out of the way. And once they came of age, they were usually abandoned once again, and most ended up as beggars or thieves, and only the chosen few who were not adopted by duty had a semblance of a normal life. And based on the number of kids I had seen and their relative age, I can assume that it was wartime. And on any given place, there is almost a 0.5% of orphan based on the population, and based on the existence of this orphanage and the warehouse found in the flower market, I can safely assume that the percentage of this town is 2%. And this town has been attacked at some point or another, either that or it has a high poverty rate. And while I was counting souls and doing mental math, my train of thought was interrupted by Lady Josepha entering the kitchen, and she frowned when she saw Woden still drinking her tea dressed like a mage, and she pretended not to see her as she continued. "We have a fully stocked kitchen with enough reserves to feed our wards for weeks to come." "A smile considering the last siege we experienced," commented a stern fat gentleman. There was at least 17 pretentious fellows looking through the orphanage and handling the children like cattle. The man who spoke pointed at Woden with his cane, and he asked, "Who is she?" "A new arrival, nothing else," said Lady Josepha, downplaying Woden's passive disobedience, and then she continued, "Now for the gardens." "Why is she dressed like that?" asked the maiden, coming closer to see Woden. "Pray do tell me, and why are you dressed like that, even though I provided you with a change of clothing?" said Josepha coolly. "My father made this for me, and that is why I wear it, and I haven't need to wear anything else," explained Woden. One item of clothing, surely you do not feel fresh you're wearing it after 3 days," asked Lady Josepha. "Has it been that long or that short? And they're just Sundays that seem to drag on, and there are those in a blink of an eye, and you wake up and you are 15, said Woden more to herself. "And that's the story of my life," thought Myrta, who was eavesdropping, as was the tradition among poor idle maids. And what else was the poor maidens to do without an education? Poor Myrta. It pains me to see such a waste of human potential. You are certainly an impertinent little girl, said the nobleman. We are all entitled to our own opinion, said Woden regarding the nobleman. The nobleman laughed and then pointing at Woden, he said, How much is it for this one? And not for sale, said Woden. Despite her extensive lexicon, the child is between 3 to 5 years of age, and she appears not to have any mental or physical disability. This praises her price as well, said Lady Josefa. Is she human? Asked the nobleman. She seems to be, said Lady Josefa. She has neither elven ears or eyes that change their color depending on her mood. It could be a troll shout for all you know, said Woden, sighing. And ignoring Woden, the woman said, Just tell me the amount. You seem eager, don't you? Said Lady Josefa, narrowing her eyes. And don't you already have children? Most of them are no longer cute, and the lady has been bothering me about getting her a cute little girl. All we have are boys, explained the nobleman. I see, you are aware of my refund policy, said Lady Josefa, and she added, Also, I will be visiting you from time to time for the next 2 months to make certain that the girl is acclimated. Don't you trust me? Asked the nobleman, giving a sheepish smile. I mean no disrespect. As far as my children are concerned, I go above and beyond to assure their safety, said Lady Josefa. Myrta rolled her eyes as she pretended to sweep the floor, and she was not even touching the floor with her broom, and Lady Josefa brought out an abacus and some paper, and while she drafted the official paper, Myrta went out to find a notary, and after seeing the price, the nobleman asked, How can you be so certain she is in a slave shop? She was left here by the forest witch, explained Lady Josefa. Ah, yes, Agnes, I suppose she must be the local brat then. And I don't know why poor bastards are all so mean-spirited, and we have an orphanage in the workhouse as well, and yet they prefer to send their children out there to die in the woods, said the nobleman, frowning. They don't want to, there's a freaking orphanage, why don't they send their kids out to die in the woods? You know, like freaking lunatics. Time, bro?
16 minutes.
And based on what I had seen, the town did not have any slaves or indentured servants. Still, the mention of slavery left a sour taste in my mouth. And depending on during this proceeding, Woden had finished her tea, and she put away her dirty tea set to clean up for later. And at first, she had made a motion to dry the sink, and then she remembered that the maids had to go to the nearby well to get water to clean them. And she placed her tea set under her sleeve when nobody was looking. And she had brought this tea set and many other goodies from her home world, and like most of her siblings, she traveled heavily, and she almost had enough junk in to move here permanently, including a house. A true pity indeed, said Lady Josefa stoically. And it was then when Woden was finally able to surmise the name of the town, and based on the Lady Josefa's memory card, we were currently in a town called Artsy, and the name was taken from a plaque located in the center of town, and when the ruined settlement was rediscovered. And based on all the data, Artsy was apparently one of the oldest towns in the entire continent, dating back to almost 7,000 years. And the main economy is based on the sale of timber and charcoal. And they also make fertilizer called potash. And the town has been destroyed and brought back to life several times, and the main issue is that the forest has the bad habit of catching fire. And it can get really bad every 300 to 500 years, and the entire population has been wiped out more than one occasion. As of now, it has not happened in the last 350 years, so let us hope things continue fine while we are stationed here. And the town is southeast of the city of Sibila, and down south of Veragerum, and it is an in-between town for people making their way to the reclusive home of the dragon riders, and being reclusive meant that the traffic towards there was usually